As far as it is known from the history of embryology, little was known about the staging and classification of human embryos until the 20th century. For this reason, the descriptions of the human embryo in the Quran cannot be based on scientific knowledge in the 7th century.
At the heart of Islam is a fascinating invitation to uncover the secrets of the universe, creating a strong link between what has been created and the one who created it all. As people who believe in Islam explore the vastness of space, they discover valuable pieces of knowledge like precious gems. These pieces come together like a beautiful piece of music that echoes through time. The Quran, a book that has existed for a very long time, tells a story that goes beyond many generations, inviting those who are curious to read its pages. Surprisingly, the verses in the Quran shine brightly as markers of truth, proving that it comes from a higher power. As Allah Almighty says in Surah Al-Fussilat, verse number 53,
سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق أولم يكف بربك أنه على كل شيء شهيد.
Soon we will show them our signs in the furthest regions of the earth and in their souls until it becomes manifest to them that this is the truth. Is it not enough that thy Lord doth witness all things? Today, as the brilliant rays of technological advancements light up the fabric of existence, scientists use old tools to find out the truths that the Quran talked about a very long time ago. Come along with us on a journey of understanding where the universe reveals its hidden knowledge and each discovery is a piece of the magnificent creation puzzle. Number 1. Order in the universe and time. One amazing thing about how Allah created everything is that everything follows a proper plan. The sun rises and sets at specific times, never too early or too late. Just like we see a clear order in how things work, the galaxies in space also have their own order. The stars and planets have specific paths they follow and they never switch places. This has been going on for millions of years since Allah created the universe. For example, in our solar system, the planets all move around the sun in their special paths. They never swap places. Mars stays where it should be, and so does Venus, Earth, and the others. Even a tiny change in their positions could cause a big problem in space. Allah talked about this in the Quran a long time ago, even before telescopes and other scientific tools were invented. He says in Surah Al-Anbiya, verse number 33, "It is He who created the night and the day, and the sun and the moon. Each of them is floating in its orbit."
When Allah says all these planets move in an orbit, the orbit was discovered later on. Yet a man 1400 years back, Nabi of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, already brought it to us. وَكُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ. Surah Yasin. All of them, they are moving in an orbit. What happened? Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah. Refresh your faith, my brothers.
Number 2. Exploring creation and embryology. In a part of the Quran, Allah says that we created man out of the extract of clay, then we made him into a drop of life germ, then we placed it in a safe depository, then we made this drop into a clot, then we made the clot into a lump, and then we made the lump into bones, then we clothed the bones with flesh, and then we caused it to grow into another creation. Thus, most blessed is Allah, the best of all those that create. Now, with modern science and advanced tools, we've confirmed that these stages are true. A respected scientist named Professor Emeritus Cathal Moore said that these details in the Quran must have come from God because they were not known by people until many years later. Number 3. The science of rain. Have you ever thought about why sometimes we get just a little bit of rain and other times it pours down heavily? Some might think this is just random, but Allah tells us it's His plan. Every moment, 16 million tons of water rise from the earth as vapor. This means the same amount needs to come back as rain. Allah mentions in Surah Az-Zukhruf, He who sent down water from the sky in a determined measure, and thereby we revived a dead land. Likewise, you will be raised from the earth. Number 4. Mountains as stakes. In a special part of the Quran called Surah Naba, Allah talks about something fascinating. He mentions how the earth is like a resting spot and the mountains are like strong stakes that hold it together. This is in chapter 78, verse 6 and 7. He says, "Have we not spread the earth like a bed and fixed the mountains like pegs?" A scientist named Frank Press wrote a book called Earth back in 1986. He studies the earth and found something interesting. Mountains are like big anchors that go deep into the ground, just like stakes in the soil. For example, Mount Everest, which is super tall at about 9 kilometers above sea level, actually goes way deeper, more than 125 kilometers down into the earth. This discovery makes what the Quran said even more meaningful.
My brothers, my sisters, what do you think of Allah? The greatness of Allah. When Allah tells you, "Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ardi," indeed in the creation of the skies and the earth, وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ, and the rotation of the day and the night, لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ, are signs for those with sound intellect.
Number 5. The meeting of the seas. A part of the Quran called Surah Rahman talks about how two seas come together but stay separate because of a barrier. As Allah says, He unleashed the two seas so that they may merge, and yet there is a barrier between them which they may not overstep. This helps the seas keep their temperature, saltiness and thickness. Scientists have found that where two different seas meet, there is a wall that keeps them apart, just like the Quran said. Number 6. Pain receptors. In Surah Al-Nisa, Allah says in verse number 56,
إن الذين كفروا بآياتنا سوف نصليهم نارا كلما نضجت جلودهم بدلناهم جلودا غيرها ليذوقوا العذاب إن الله كان عزيزا حكيما.
Those who reject our signs, we shall soon cast into the fire. As often as their skins are roasted through, we shall change them for fresh skins, that they may taste the penalty. For Allah is exalted in power, wise. People used to think that only the brain is responsible for feeling pain, but now we know that there are special parts of our skin that feel pain. If these parts weren't there, we wouldn't be able to feel pain. This is another way the Quran has shown amazing knowledge ahead of its time. As we travel through the verses of the Quran and the messages they contain, we've seen something amazing happen between the ancient wisdom of this special book and the ever-growing discoveries of science. The Quran, which holds important knowledge from higher powers, invites us to learn about the universe, understand how things are created and solve the secrets hidden in its words. In our world, where we're always learning more, we're amazed to see how the Quran's teachings match up with what science tells us. Imagine how the sun and moon move, or how a tiny baby grows inside its mother. Even things like rain and mountains have a special story to tell, and the Quran gives us hints about these stories. This special connection between the ancient teachings of the Quran and what we know today shows us something really important that will never change, no matter how much time passes or where we are. The Quran is like a guide for people who believe and a source of wonder for curious people. It helps us understand things beyond what we can see and touch. So let's keep going on this journey of learning and exploring where we think about faith and reason together. When we look at the stars or study tiny things in life, let's remember that there's so much to discover. Just like we find amazing things in the universe, the Quran keeps showing us incredible wisdom, like putting together a puzzle. This journey should make us want to learn more, ask questions, and even feel closer to the One who made the whole universe and shared his wisdom through the Quran.